So what campaign worlds do you use in your Dungeons and Dragons games or your RPG games? Are they pre-made campaign worlds that are specific? Are they homebrew? And why do you do it that way?
I'd say for a solid 60% of my games, I use the Forgotten Realms because my players know it, I know it, all the materials for it, super easy, super simple. And what I like is if I'm running the same group over and over, they build the world. Over time, they can look at the map and say, oh, yeah, our characters did that in that city, or, oh, yeah, we went to that island and, blew it up, or this and that. And I like that continuity I have with a long-standing group. And then for the other 40% of my games, I run my own homebrew worlds that fit the narrative well, whether that be a unexplored area that is yearning for adventure or a land that is, fantastical and creepy, whatever the case may be. I like to switch it up because, you gotta keep the players on their toes. Do you keep players on your toes, Mark?
Oh yeah, always, always. But yeah, Forgotten Realms as well for me. Again, and it kind of boils down to laziness. Yeah, it's all right there, pretty much. But I do homebrew inside that Forgotten Realms. I often pick, some town that's in between these couple towns that I've made up, and that's kind of the thing I usually do. I don't really like to use like the big places like Baldur's Gate or Waterdeep and all because one, they're so big, and two, there's already kind of some established lore. Although I can twist that around, I just kind of want to. I don't want to. I really don't want another shopping episode more than I can help it. So I do my little towns are sparse with shops and things like that. But yeah, I typically kind of do a little of both. And same thing, I know Forgotten Realms inside now. A lot of my players are kind of newer, so it's all new to them. So that's good too. But I had the familiarity and I can make things fit in that Forgotten Realms setting. So that's why I like Forgotten Realms. That's me. What about you, Caleb?
Yes, Faerun is where it's at. I use the Forgotten Realms setting just because it's generic enough yet expansive enough that pretty much anybody who's familiar even with general fantasy concepts will kind of know what's going on. But generally with campaigns, I usually run stuff like north of the Moon Sea in the areas that like nobody really talks about, so nobody knows exactly what's going on. So I can homebrew a lot of stuff that makes sense that's happening in the Forgotten Realms. And it's, with the rules regarding smoke powder and the black powder stuff, it's very easy for me to kind of fit in some of my older, gunpowder stuff that went with the Warhammer Fantasy stuff. So yeah, the Forgotten Realms is just generic, but expansive enough that you can pretty much mold it to whatever you want, and you can always just go back to some familiar settings if your players would get a kick out of that as well. What about you, Frederick? What realm do your players go to?
I've used a lot. Right now, I'm being really lazy and I'm just using the Forgotten Realms. My players have made it quite clear they're sick and tired of the Forgotten Realms, and so I'm going to have to up the ante a little bit. So I've made adjustments. We've gone to Celestia, we've gone to Midgard, which is a Kobold Press world. The world of, is it Galandria? I can't remember. I think that's the Pathfinder world. I've used that. Dark Sun, my players don't like going there, and so probably won't ever get to do that again, but I thought it was fun. I've done a lot of homebrew as well, but I really struggle trying to get people to like that idea, because usually when I do a homebrew, I will just draw out a continent, just the outline, with no names, not even the name of the world, and I'll just plonk it in front of them and say, all right, what's this place called? You might see a pattern here. There's a lot of me not doing very much and getting the players to do an awful lot. Some players don't like that. They don't understand. Dungeon Master should be making everything, and other players love it. And I can't give anybody a specific homebrew world, because every time I do this, I make a new one. And it's not really me making it, somebody else's. So I don't really record them. They just get tossed away and it's move on. And I do that primarily, I think, just sheer lack of desire to spend too much time trying to remember stuff that I know I won't.
And if you're looking for that variety in the spice of life or even death, maybe you can check out Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft, which is coming out with a lot of different little biomes to flavor up your games and help you out for all you lazy DMs.
So let us know down in the comments, what campaign worlds do you use and why?